There's a moment in every life when the noise fades, when the people stop answering, the world stops clapping, and you realize no one is coming. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to fix what's broken inside you. No one is coming to carry you out of the storm. And at first that truth hurts. It feels like abandonment, like being forgotten by the world you once tried to please. You look around for a hand to reach out, but all you find is silence. But slowly, if you listen carefully enough, you'll realize that silence isn't empty. It's speaking to you. It's saying, this is your turning point. Because when no one comes to save you, you learn to save yourself. When no one comes to calm you, you learn to master your mind. And when no one stands beside you, you discover what it means to stand on your own. This is not loneliness, it's awakening. The moment you stop waiting for rescue is the moment you remember your strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's what solitude is. It's not the end, it's the beginning. It's the invitation to return home, not to a place, but to yourself. We spend so much of life chasing belonging, wanting to be seen, understood, loved. But the truth is, you cannot belong anywhere until you belong to yourself. And so, when the world grows quiet, when the messages stop coming, when even your own reflection feels like a stranger, don't run from that moment. Sit in it, breathe in it, because this is where transformation begins. The art of standing alone is not about being alone. It's about being whole. It's about realizing that your strength, your peace, your purpose were never waiting outside of you. And today, we're going to walk through 6 profound truths about self-reliance, responsibility, and the raw power that awakens when you finally understand. This is your life, your responsibility, your beautiful burden to carry, and I promise you, by the end of this journey, you'll see that burden not as weight, but as wings. Take a breath. Let the noise fade. Let the world grow still. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a message, it's a mirror. Now let's wake up together. Number 1, the noise of the world. There's a kind of silence that we've forgotten. Not the silence that comes when the world is asleep, but the silence that comes when you finally stop chasing it. We live in an age of constant sound, notifications, opinions, comparisons, and demands. Every second, something calls for your attention. Someone is telling you who to be, how to feel, what to want. But have you noticed what happens in that endless noise? You begin to lose your own voice. You start mistaking connection for validation and attention for worth. Seneca once wrote, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." And that's what this noise does. It blinds you to the direction of your own soul. It fills your days with movement, but empties your heart of purpose. We scroll endlessly through lives that are not ours. We measure our success in reactions, our happiness in numbers, our peace in how quiet others are, not how still we are inside. The Stoics warned us of this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Because to stand apart from the crowd, to embrace stillness in a noisy world, is to appear strange. But in that strangeness, you find strength. Standing alone begins not with walking away, but with turning inward. It starts when you realize that solitude is not isolation, it is clarity. It is the quiet space where your true thoughts finally have room to breathe. When Marcus Aurelius sat alone in his tent, surrounded by war, he wrote not to armies or nations, but to himself. He said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's the lesson we keep forgetting. You don't need to escape the world to find peace. You only need to withdraw from its noise. So before this journey continues, I want you to pause right now. Put your phone down, close your eyes, Listen to the air moving through the room. That stillness you feel. That's you. That's what's been waiting beneath the noise all along. Number 2, the breaking point. Every soul meets a moment when the noise becomes too loud to bear. The constant striving, pleasing, proving, it all starts to crack beneath the weight of exhaustion. You wake up one day and something inside whispers, "I can't keep living like this." That whisper is not weakness. It's the sound of truth. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." But what he didn't write, and what we learn in silence, is that sometimes it's not about what you say or do, it's about what you can no longer pretend to be. There comes a breaking point when the old version of you simply can't carry the mask any longer. The laughter feels forced, the goals feel hollow, the company feels crowded with absence, and you begin to see maybe this life you built wasn't built for you. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When the breaking point arrives, it doesn't destroy you, that it reveals you. It strips away the comforts, the illusions, the stories you told yourself to survive. And in that naked truth, you stand face to face with your real self, perhaps for the first time. You may cry, you may feel lost, uncertain, afraid, but do not mistake that pain for punishment. Pain is the body's alarm and the soul's awakening. Seneca reminded us, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Your breaking point is not an end. It is resistance training for your spirit. It is the moment your old self dissolves and the new self begins to breathe. Standing alone often begins with being broken. It's not graceful, it's not beautiful, it's not what you post online. It's raw, messy, unfiltered truth. But it's in that brokenness that humility enters. The humility to ask, who am I without the noise? Who am I when no one's watching? What do I really want to become? If you can stand in that silence, in that discomfort, and not run, you've already begun to heal. Because the breaking point is not the fall, it's the beginning of your rise. Number 3, lessons from the Stoics. The ancients walked this path long before us. They lived in empires, in chaos, in exile, yet they found peace within their own minds. They discovered what we're only beginning to remember, that real power doesn't come from controlling the world, but from mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, carried the weight of an empire on his shoulders. Yet every night he returned to his journal, writing reminders to himself, not decrees to others. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He knew that the world would always be turbulent, wars, betrayal, loss, but the inner world could remain still. That stillness, that unshakable calm, was the Stoic's fortress. Epictetus was once a slave. He had no wealth, no comfort, no freedom in the worldly sense, but his mind was free. He taught his students, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He meant that freedom isn't the absence of hardship, but the presence of discipline. Freedom begins when you stop blaming fate and start governing your own reactions. It begins when you stop saying, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" Seneca, the philosopher and statesman, spoke to us across centuries with gentleness and truth. He said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How many of our fears are born not from the present moment, but from stories our mind invents? How much of our anxiety is the echo of things that never happened? The Stoics teach us this. The mind is both the prison and the key. The thoughts you nurture shape the life you live. To live with wisdom, you must learn to observe your thoughts as a witness, not a victim. When anger rises, pause. When fear speaks, listen but do not obey. When desire pulls, remember that all things are fleeting. This is not detachment out of apathy, It is serenity born of perspective. The Stoic learns to look at life as it is, not as they wish it to be. And in that acceptance, they find peace that the world cannot give or take away. Epictetus once told his students, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." The true Stoic is not loud. He doesn't wear his wisdom like armor. He practices it in silence, in patience when tested, in forgiveness when wronged, in gratitude when alone. Standing alone is not rebellion, it's maturity. It's choosing self-mastery over self-pity, inner order over outer chaos. Marcus wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." These words remind us, philosophy is not something you read, it's something you live. So when you find yourself alone, remember, you're walking the same path as the great minds before you. Your solitude is not punishment, it's practice. You are training your mind to be unshaken, your heart to be still, your soul to be free. The Stoics didn't live for applause, they lived for alignment. They understood that the world is temporary, but virtue, peace, and wisdom, these endure. Inner peace are rebuilt step by step. Number 4, rebuilding the self. There comes a moment after the storm, a strange, sacred stillness. You've faced the breaking, you've met the silence, and now the rebuilding begins. This is not the dramatic rise of a hero. It's quiet, it's slow. It's the kind of growth that no one sees, the kind that happens in the dark, between tears and breaths, between surrender and acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look there." That is where rebuilding begins, not in the approval of others, not in the world's applause, but in the soil of your own soul. When you've stood alone long enough, you start to see the pieces of your life differently. The things that once felt like failures start to look like foundations. The pain that once broke you becomes the very tool that shapes you. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold, and adversity tests the brave." And that's what solitude does. It burns away what's false. It purifies your intentions, greater than it shows you what truly matters. Rebuilding the self is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you who to be. It's about remembering that peace isn't found in achievement, but in alignment. In this chapter of life, your tools are simple: patience, awareness, and consistency. Wake up each day and ask, what small thing can I build today? Maybe it's a new habit. Maybe it's forgiveness. Maybe it's simply choosing not to give up. Epictetus taught, "No great thing is created suddenly, and yet we demand instant transformation. We want healing to happen overnight, but real growth is slow. It's the art of enduring your own process without losing faith in it. When you rebuild yourself, you stop chasing intensity and start cultivating stability. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating a steady rhythm of effort, small steps, every day. It's in this rhythm that the Stoics found freedom, not through force, but through discipline, not through passion, but through presence. As Marcus wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. So the work of rebuilding is not about fixing the world, but reordering your perception of it, to see clearly again, to act calmly again, to live intentionally again. As you rise from the quiet, don't rush back into noise. Protect your peace like a fragile flame. Rebuild not to impress, but to express who you've become. Rebuild not to prove your worth, but to live from it, because this is what standing alone really means. It's not defiance, it's devotion. Devotion to truth, to purpose, to peace. Number 5, the freedom of solitude. There is a moment, somewhere deep in the silence, when loneliness turns into peace. It doesn't happen suddenly. It comes quietly, like the sunrise after a long night. You begin to realize that solitude was never your enemy. It was your teacher. It was guiding you back to yourself, showing you that you were whole long before you were loved. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Men seek retreats for themselves, in the country, by the sea, in the hills, but nowhere can a man find a retreat more peaceful or untroubled than within his own soul." This is the essence of freedom. It's not the absence of people, it's the presence of peace. It's the quiet knowing that you are enough, even when no one is clapping, no one is calling, and no one is watching. When you can sit in silence and feel at home, you have already found what most are still chasing. You are no longer running from your thoughts, you are listening to them. You are no longer searching for love, you are radiating it from within. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And that bravery, it's not the kind that wins battles or commands armies. It's the courage to be still in your own company, to walk a path few understand, to choose clarity over comfort. In solitude, you start to see the world differently. You stop asking for permission to be yourself. You stop seeking validation for your peace. And you start realizing that silence is not empty, it's full of answers. Every moment you spend alone becomes sacred ground, a temple of thought, a sanctuary of self-awareness. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's the freedom solitude gives. It allows you to see who you truly are before the world tells you who you should become. The freedom of solitude is not isolation, it's illumination. It's the moment when you stop trying to fill the silence and start letting it fill you. You begin to see that peace was never out there, not in the applause, not in the noise, not in the crowd. It was waiting quietly within you all along. Number 6, the warrior's mind. There comes a point in solitude when peace becomes power. You've faced the breaking. You've walked through the silence. You've rebuilt yourself piece by piece. And now you stand not as who you were, but as who you've become. This is the mind of the warrior, but do not mistake it for aggression or conquest. The true warrior is not one who conquers others, but one who conquers himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Greater than realize this, and you will find strength, and that is the heart of Stoic courage, to master reaction, to hold your ground when chaos surrounds you. The warrior's mind is disciplined, but not rigid, calm, but not passive, strong, but still tender. It knows that control does not mean suppression, it means awareness. When anger rises, the warrior observes it. When fear whispers, the warrior listens, but does not obey. When the world demands noise, the warrior answers with silence. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every hardship you've endured, every rejection, every loss, every quiet night was sharpening you. Not to harden your heart, but to clear your vision. The warrior's mind understands that peace is not found in comfort. It is forged in discomfort. It is built by walking willingly into uncertainty and standing tall in the storm. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This is not surrender, it is serenity. The warrior moves not with anxiety, but with acceptance. He acts with intention, then releases the outcome. To stand alone is not to stand apart. It is to stand within yourself, firmly, quietly, and free. The warrior doesn't seek applause because his purpose is not to be seen. His purpose is to be aligned, to live in truth, to walk in peace, to lead without shouting, and to love without needing. Marcus wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one greater than, so be one." Not through words, but through presence. Not through noise, but through integrity. You've learned the art of standing alone. But now you know the secret. You were never truly alone. The silence was your teacher. The struggle was your training, and the solitude, your sanctuary. The warrior's mind is not loud. It's calm, it's grounded, it's free. You are not waiting anymore. You are walking, and the path ahead is yours. If this message is already resonating with you, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment with your thoughts. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because we're building a community of people who refuse to wait for permission to live powerfully.